I've written multiple exams in my life. I've successfully passed the Indian curriculum. Actually, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've written my SATs, but most importantly, I've strategically answered every question my mother's ever asked me without getting into trouble. My mother's Indian, it is not easy. But the hardest question I've ever encountered wasn't from any of the sources that I just mentioned. You see, I first came across this question when I was 4 years old, but unlike other questions, it just didn't seem to stop there. Of course, I'm talking about no other question, but what do you want to be when you grow up? At first, I was confused. I didn't know how to go about answering a question like this. But sooner or later, I realized that the answer to this question is your passion. The answer is the activity or service you undertake that ultimately brings you happiness. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Advait Rajeev, and today I'll be narrating my story. 4 different stages, 4 different passions, and how at 16 years of age, I finally realized the key to unlocking one's happiness. So, are we ready? Shall we begin? They say, never let go of your dreams. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if that was the case, and I never let go of the dreams that I dreamt of as a 4-year-old kid, well, I'd be up on the stage for an entirely different reason. You see, in that case, the theme of today's TEDx wouldn't be TEDx through the looking glass. It'd be TEDx, and that's it. Because there'd be no theme, there'd be no TEDx, and I certainly will not be on stage. Quick show of hands, who here has dreamt of going down what society considers an unconventional career path? Okay, I can't see the audience, but I'm sure a few hands are up. Put all of them together and you get mine. Because ladies and gentlemen, at 4 years old, I wanted to grow up and I wanted to be an auto rickshaw driver. Yeah, you can laugh, you can go ahead. I pictured myself in my mid-30s, aviator sunglasses on, hair slicked back, cruising around the mean streets of Bombay and simply owning people with a chest filled with pride, a face painted with a smug look like never before. I decided to go up to my parents and tell them about my new passion. I think we all know where this is going. I went up and I said, Mama, Papa, I want to grow up and I want to be an auto rickshaw driver. My mother handed me back my birth certificate. Another 4 years passed by. I was 8 years old now and life grew tougher. Life did. But the endless obstacles life threw at me didn't stop me from dreaming. It was time for me to embrace another passion. I just so happened to watch Shah Rukh Khan's latest film at the time of this revelation. I think the film was titled Happy New Year. Who here hasn't watched that film? Consider yourself lucky. I watched that film and I realized that was my calling. I needed to grow up and I needed to be an actor. I was astounded by the stardom. I desired the fame. My pupils were absorbed with dollar signs. I'm kidding, I just couldn't stop picturing myself with all these actresses just walking like this. So let me show you something. This was my daily routine. You know, I'd wake up, I'd use the bathroom. I don't know why it's at such a high magnitude. I'd have food, I'd dream about being Tom Cruise, and then I'd go out, usually play a sport. It used to be football. And then I'd sleep. And then repeat. Then something crazy happened. You see, for the first time in my life, I literally took a good look in the mirror. And the reflection I saw wasn't very actor-worthy. Let me paint you a picture. Let's say you're a director and you walk into a room and you're here to cast a new hero for your film. And so you walk in and you see some good options. You see him, and then you see him. I realized that God does truly have his favorites, and I just moved on, swiftly. Another 4 years passed by. Life grew increasingly tougher. They added the letters A and B to my mathematics. And to make matters worse, they then added the number 2, but not on the line. My new passion was the only source that helped me propel through this storm. That's right. It's like every 4 years when there was a new election, I decided to take control of my life. But this time it was different. And this time it had to be different. Because this time, he was elected. I knew my time was doomed, and sooner or later I thought the world was about to end. But notwithstanding the anarchy and pandemonium that followed President Trump's election, I decided to do some groundwork on it, some research. And what followed was a new fascination. A fascination with money. The exquisite cars, the luxury mansions, the incredible watch collections, and the all-round cheat code with which Donald Trump led his life had me in a chokehold. And so, on brand with the Gen Z on me, I decided to turn to Google. And I searched up jobs that make you rich. I took out a pen, I took out a paper, and I started listing them down, and I was ready. But before we move on, let me just show you my daily routine now. I'd wake up, I'd still use the bathroom for the same magnitude. I'd have food, I'd then dream about being rich, go play football, sleep, and then repeat. Enter life-changing moment 2. I decided to go up to my parents once again and tell them, I said, Mama, pick out all the dresses. Papa, pick out all the houses, because your son is going to grow up and be a billionaire. Once again, I stood there dazed and confused, and my mom looked at me and asked me one very simple question. She asked me, Advait, where are you going to get this money from? I stood there dazed and confused, and my new passion left me with a sense of uncertainty, and I didn't have the answers on how to achieve my end goal. As I stand here and I address this audience today, I can't help but carefully examine my journey so far. At each age, what I wanted from my life wasn't dictated by me. It was dictated by society. It was dictated by my environment. And most importantly, it was dictated by what people would say to me. Why was it that every 4 years I had to cling on to another dream? Why was it that in every dream I dreamt, I always found fault in it? Ladies and gentlemen, why was it that irrespective of the endless obstacles life threw at me, I still kept dreaming? The answer? Simple. I let my mind take over from my heart. That was a dialogue from the movie Happy New Year. That is exactly why you do not watch that movie. But it's true. You see, it's human nature to change and adapt according to your surroundings, and especially according to what people tell you. Advait, I hope you're ready because the next 10 years, oh, they're going to be crazy. Or Advait, buckle up because you need to be a little different the next 10 years. I don't mean to sound rude, but 10 years? Who knows if you're going to be alive then? You see, this is the problem. Too often we let others warn us about our future. That slowly but surely, knowingly or unknowingly, they start shaping our future. And so at 14 years old, I redesigned the way I started thinking. I no longer started looking for the changes that life would have to offer me, but I started nurturing and preserving the constants that my life was made out of. I no longer started dictating my future, but I started analyzing my present and my past activities with the intention that my passion was hidden there. So let's get back, shall we? Where was I? Ah, yes. 12-year-old Advait wanted to grow up and he wanted to be a billionaire. Well, I was 16 now, and with my newly conceived notion about my future, I stopped searching for something that I wanted to do 10 years down the line, and started searching for something I wanted to do later that very evening. I stopped searching for something that I would force myself to do in the future, and started searching for something that I would just subconsciously do. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in my life, I redefined what passion meant to me. To me, passion now meant constant. And so what better avenue to search for my constants than my daily routine? I looked over my daily routine through 2 stages of my life, and I realized there was only one activity. One activity that I did with so much passion, so much vigor, that I found myself doing it every single day. Of course, that activity is nothing but I think next slide. Using the bathroom is not my passion. Let's get It's an art of football. And now let me pause real quick because I know what everyone here is thinking. Did he really just ramble on for 7 to 8 minutes just to tell us that this was his passion? No, but yeah, kind of. Yeah. You see, the point I'm trying to make is simple. There is always one activity that you will find yourself engaged in. There is one activity that allows you to forget about the rest of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, there is that one activity that when you are engaged in it, it allows you to block society from entering your brain. When I go on and I play football, maybe for 30 minutes, maybe for an hour, what happens 10 years down the line doesn't have to affect me. What degree would pay me the most when I'm 25 years old doesn't have to affect me. Whether or not I actually grow up and end up depending on this sport for my livelihood, it doesn't matter. Because at a very young age, I was able to identify my constant source of joy. So, ladies and gentlemen, identify this one activity. And then, congratulations, you found your passion. Because you see, this activity is the one activity that you don't force yourself to do. This activity is the one activity that you subconsciously do. And most importantly, this activity is the one activity that is a constant in your life. On brand with our theme today, Through the Looking Glass, the takeaway from my speech is simple and honestly is quite straightforward. You see, what we see through a looking glass is only what the real world wants us to see. It's what's visible to our eyes and it's what's comprehensible to our brains. But what if for once, we let this vision be analyzed by our heart? I brought the human heart up a lot of times in the speech, and I know it was for a joke, but there is some relevance. You see, the human heart is a very special organ. When the brain collapses, so does your entire body. Every single organ gives up, except for the human heart. Because the human heart has its own electrical system that allows it to continue pumping blood and beat. The relation, it's simple. If you truly want something from the bottom of your heart, then like every other organ, if society gives up on you, if your loved ones give up on you, and I hate to say it, but sometimes you may give up on yourself, your dream and your passion can still live on. People often find themselves scrambling between field to field with the intention of finding their passion. Time and time again, we see ourselves get lost in the search for our genuine source of joy. With different phases of life, we assume different passions, different reasons, and most importantly, different purposes. But what if I told you that your desired passion is right under your nose and is eagerly waiting to find you? You see, society as a whole, we spend majority of our lives engrossed in the changes that life has to offer, that we fail to pay attention to the constants. Amid all the changes that happens around us, your passion is the one source of joy that never alters. Your passion is the one constant, while the world as you know it changes with time. Ladies and gentlemen, our passions are waiting to be discovered, and the easiest way to do so is by focusing on the constants. Thank you.